So we will be starting Game 2 between White Raw and TesteR in just a moment. I do want to once again thank our sponsor, Altitude Game, for helping sponsor this event. I mean, just an incredible indie game, probably one of the best indie games that I have ever played. Definitely down countless hours myself. Check that out. And we are going to be going into Game 2 right now. I am not going to wait at all. We are going to jump directly into Metalopolis. And exactly as Chill was saying before, the positions are so significant on this map. Cross positions mean big, long, drawn-out macro games. Horizontal positions mean very, very aggressive games. Vertical positions just feel weird because you share that cliff. And we are starting right now. White Raw spawning in the top as the red Protoss pieces. And on the left, we do have TesteR spawning as the light blue festive Protoss pieces. And these are the horizontal positions. There will be maximum aggression coming up. And it's interesting because in these two positions, this is the only setup where the players don't end up splitting the map, really. It's really just non-stop aggression, and both players only get their natural, and taking a third is a huge task in these spots.
And I really like these in a mirror matchup like PvP because it can be easy to fall in the trap of someone gets a little bit ahead using the same unit composition, and then they're just going to sit back, compound their advantage, expand, and we see a long, drawn-out game, which eventually ends with the person who had the first advantage winning. In a match like this, it becomes more about defending the rush if one chooses to rush it. And I think it opens up a lot more early game dynamics. So I'm going to be interested to see that as we see TesteR sending his first probe out pretty early on Metalopolis, but going in the wrong direction.
And I'm curious to see if he's going to stop by that Xel'Naga watchtower. I think that's a pretty important step to do on Metalopolis. I mean, especially if White Raw was Terran and he does that cheesy lift the command center right at the start of the game and take the gold. Because I don't know if this has happened to any of the players tuning in, but sometimes you'll scout the whole map and go, wait a minute, he's not here. I literally am not playing against another person in this game. But, of course, he floated to the mineral. But big cheese opportunities in the middle. Neither player scouting that. White Raw doing a little bit later of a scout. But, of course, he's going to be beelining to his opponent's base straight off the bat. And both players doing pretty normally timed gateways. Like you, Chill, I'm disappointed to not see a 2-gate coming out of either of these players.
No big deal. Maybe TesteR will bring it back with something we've never seen before. We see the assimilator coming up a little bit quicker for TesteR, actually, and White Raw is now going up, gateway finish. We're going to see that well-timed cybernetic score going up now, and let's hope he gets warp gates this time because I really
undoubtedly
I would like to get him on the phone and have an explanation why he didn't get warp gates. That's still on my mind. So I think he's probably not going to try any sort of quick robo again on this map.
So both players are doing the very standard gateway, followed by gas, followed by cybernetics core. Nothing too crazy going on from either player. Again, disappointed that TesteR didn't do something like gateway gas, gateway, gateway, gateway. Really ramping up the aggression for no reason. But on that warp gate note from last game, way back when Idra actually played Protoss at the start of the beta, he was saying to me in a game that he absolutely demolished me in with his Protoss, that if you cut the warp gates and emphasize largely zealots, you can end up with a really, really fast Colossus, and you get the range upgrade very, very quickly. So I can see a justification for skipping warp gate then, but all those other gas units, the Observer, the Sentry, the Stalker, those all ate into the pace of getting those Colossi, and I felt like that really bit White Raw in last game. So we do have that second gas up for White Raw. We have the second gas almost done for TesteR, and just as in the first game, we are seeing a chrono-boosted Stalker and a chrono-boosted Warp Gate. A lot of precision coming out of TesteR.
And with the first Stalker out for both players, we see they're now playing blind. The probes have been killed in either base, and let's take a look at what they're doing. White Raw has 2 gateways. He's chrono-boosting that Warp Gate and putting down a Twilight Council. Meanwhile, TesteR's still on 1 gateway. I find that a little surprising. Now putting down the second gateway and has a later Twilight Council. So on all accounts, it looks like White Raw is ahead. I'm surprised that TesteR has his build order going like this, now adding the gateways.
Yeah, those Twilight Councils are going down right now. No extra gateway for TesteR, just as you said. I think you're a little bit ahead of me on the replay. I just had the Twilight Council start in TesteR's base. But it's, of course, nice hearing information from the future. So we are seeing the Warp Gate is rapidly finishing for White Raw. And wow, is he going to get a third gate? Third gateway just goes down. Wow. Subtle hint to Chill. The third gateway just went down. A little bit of sync up on
Are you on
there.
fast or faster? What's going on here?
I was on fast. So anyways, we do see that a proxy pylon is being made by whiterot on the left side of the map. Interesting positioning right there, going to allow for some great early DT rushes. And it looks like TesteR, oh my goodness, TesteR might be doing the same. Yes, TesteR is planning a pylon, just starting it at the north end. Oh my god, both players now know what is up. Oh, look at this whiterot managing to sneak all the way in. But did he see the Twilight Council? Does whiterot have vision of that? Yes, he does. So almost certainly both players know exactly what each other are going to do. How are they going to respond?
It's kind of interesting here. whiterot making the Dark Shrine, nothing coming out of the Twilight Council, whereas TesteR is going for that chrono boosted blink and no detection yet. So if these DTs finish, I mean that's a showstopper right there. And whiterot also trying to get the robotics out. I feel like he could be doing a little too much here. I don't feel like he needs that robotics out unless he really is fearing DTs as well. Looks like he is as he's getting the observer out. Doesn't have much gas for DTs as the Dark Shrine is halfway done. I'm getting a little nervous for TesteR here. He's got nothing that can see those invisible ninjas, which are coming in quickly.
But look at this, Blink is almost finished in TesteR's base. This is a huge timing push. Look at this, more Stalkers being warped up on the high ground. He has just finished Blink. He is now heading towards TesteR's main. TesteR's getting the Observer, and though the Dark Shrine is not done yet, here comes TesteR. He's darting up the ramp. Oh my god, he blinks. Look at that huge surround. He snipes off one Stalker. A second one falls. Third one going to go down in just a second. Oh my god, whiterot trying to warp in as many Zealots as we can. This Dark Shrine is still almost finished. It is at 450 hit points, and look at this beautiful cycling by TesteR. whiterot bringing all his probes. The Dark Shrine just now finishes. Does TesteR have any detection? Oh, robotics facility just started. whiterot warping in one DT. His main is going to be able to be safe, but whiterot, is he warping in a DT to the left? No. Oh, whiterot needs to do that. That would be huge if he could do some sort of nice snipe action. Oh, there's the DT being warped in at the left side. Oh my god, this game just became crazy town.
Yeah, he needs to get that DT moving. We see the sentry select, and he puts up the force field to block that DT and psychic force field, just buying time on the robotics for TesteR. Oh my god, he needs to warp in something else to just clog that up, get those Zealots to sacrifice. The DT just standing there, he's got to get in there. And he's in now, he's got to take out the pylons or the robo, as base race is basically how this game is going to end. Looks like he's just going straight for the probes, TesteR running them smartly, chrono boosting that observer. If that observer gets out, I feel like he's going to be just fine. He's got to do something to get rid of this observer, and looks like whiterot is not going to be able to shut down the robotics. Observer going to come out, and looks like everything is going to be okay for TesteR. Despite him losing quite a few probes, he's still going to be in the game.
Yeah, TesteR doing brilliant micromanagement with those probes, drawing them all to the natural expansion, just making sure he kept them alive as long as possible. Ooh, another nice blink snipe by TesteR right there. And whiterot really aching. He has a slightly more completed tech tree, but he is lower on the worker count. Going to the income panel, we do see that TesteR has 4 more probes than his opponent. And, I mean, really in the food count is where we see that there's a huge difference. whiterot, 30 food, and TesteR at 43 food. Ooh, more Dark Templar, trying to do a little bit fancy action. But, God, that fast blink by TesteR was just a brilliant timing.
Yeah, his timing was so great. I don't know how he knew to move in before the DTs came in, but that's what happens when you're Korean, I guess. You just get these mental warnings. You know, attack now. I don't know how they do it, but I feel like DTs in this style that whiterot went, it's very difficult to transition out of it. It's, for all senses, I believe it's more of an all-in than kind of using them to harass and focusing on gateway units. So it's going to be really difficult now that TesteR has observers out. It's going to be very, very difficult for whiterot to come back. And looks like a DT being warped into TesteR's main, moving in now. There's an observer there, but the Zealot goes down, and this DT going to work on the probes. 3 kills, 4 kills. Is TesteR countering in the main? No, force field blocks him. The DT, oh my god, killing so many probes. 9 probes now. 10 probes, 11 probes. 11 probes, so that's a big deal. If we look at the income tab now, whiterot is back in the lead.
God, how did that happen? White Raw now ahead in the food count at 50 to 46, and now he does have these 4 unit producing structures, so he is making plenty of Immortals and Gateway units to bolster everything. This pylon placement by White Raw, just superb, and that's one thing that I've seen from White Raw again and again, both in Brood War and in StarCraft 2, his ability to do counter harassment when he's under pressure. He is phenomenal when there is a huge army at his gate. It's still remembering to do that drop, still remembering to warp in those DTs, but look, we have a huge transition coming out of TesteR. Robotics facility coming down. This is what makes these positions so crazy. There is just this non-stop attacking from both players. We don't even see any attempt from expanding from either one.
Right. And the other thing these Dark Templar have done for White Raw, now that he's switching it up, is we notice when TesteR moves out, he's got to leave all these units behind. He's got 5 Zealots and a Sentry sitting on his ramp with an Observer sitting there. So I mean, he's starting to get wary of these Dark Templar. And I mean, if White Raw transitions out of Dark Templar as we see he's getting the Immortals now, more and more Immortals. If he can catch the Stalkers out of position, he can just deal a ton of damage, and that's a nice opportunity that the Dark Templar harass has given him. We see the nice blink by the Stalkers at the natural of TesteR. Just not going to have any of those Dark Templar at this point.
And oh my god, Colossus being produced, and the range, the extended thermal lance, is probably the most important upgrade in the game, as far as I'm concerned. I'll say it. You know what? It is the most important upgrade in the game, period. Unarguably. So huge. I mean, in Brood War, almost all these significant interactions revolved around range upgrades, and in this game, that Colossus range literally makes the Colossus feel like it's doing more damage. And look at the timing of TesteR's economy. Right when that Colossus finished, the second one is getting started right away. He is warping in plenty of units from these warp gates. Again, chrono boosting the range, so important to do so. And look at this, a lot of chrono boost saved up on the Nexus for TesteR. White Raw doing also leaving that a little bit saved up, not doing the best job of spending that. White Raw, taking his expansion, very unorthodox in these horizontal positions, but he is warping in. Very nice composition. I have no idea who would win in a confrontation. That huge immortal count is going to be very tough for TesteR to deal with.
Right, and I think it's going to come down to where White Raw positions his army. It looks like he's got a kind of a bit of an arc going on outside his natural. He could also put that up on the ramp and try to engage from the high ground, although TesteR has Blink, so that would kind of negate that advantage. The one thing I was looking for is basically who's going to play chicken first, and it looks like White Raw has done it by expanding first. TesteR just basically building an army for this timing to break this expansion. He's got the high ground now, and with the Colossus and that extended thermal lance, that's so hard to deal with. White Raw's going to have to run up, and here we go, Guardian Shield going up, the Colossus at the back, focusing on the units, but it's taking out the Immortals. Not the best use of it, and I don't know who's going to win this. A lot of Zealots as meat shields for TesteR. Very nice composition, but the Colossus is largely focusing on the Immortals. That's not where he wants them to be hit, but looks like it's not going to matter. The Zealots are right up against the Stalkers of White Raw. First Colossus goes down from Stalker Fire, so very nice by White Raw, but it looks like he's going to get completely broken here. The Colossus with that range just tells the tale. And with these meat shields in front of it, I don't think White Raw can do anything to get rid of this last Colossus strolling into his main.
Yeah, that huge Zealot count was so instrumental for TesteR. Those Colossi were able to do tons of damage, and the Immortals were having a lot of shots going down on those Zealots. Look at this Colossus jumping right in, annihilating this last Stalker, and good game. White Raw loses 0-2. We will be having TesteR in the finals of this Altitude TeamLiquid Invitational. What another impressive game by TesteR. Again, the timing of that blink was just superb. Kind of interesting to think that TesteR really did complete the entire tech tree on one base and didn't ever want to expand no matter what. I mean, still at the very end screen of this game, we see no expo, not even a building out of his main.
The thing I take away from this, from TesteR's plays, we didn't see anything fancy, anything mind-blowing. We just saw very, very tight, pointed builds that, I can say his build was set to do this, and he built everything going straight for that, and then executed at the right time, and that timing just cut through White Raw. White Raw, on the other hand, playing more of a mind game, trying to rush to Colossus or getting the Dark Templar out, and did really nice with them. Almost came back in that second game, but it just wasn't enough for that final attack that came from TesteR to finish the game.
Absolutely, and I mean, that is a great demonstration of how powerful Blink can be, because there are so many strategies that sound good on paper,
Mm.
But in practice, it's that subtle, tiny, tiny timing window that really bleeds through and shows that, if you can get the precision of your build to the max, you can defeat a wide range of strategies. I mean, most people would say, oh, well, if, your opponent's going Blink and you're going Dark Templar, then the Dark Templar player wins because the other guy doesn't have detection at all. But did you see that force field timing? 2 brilliant force fields to delay that Dark Templar. And then, of course, the Blink in the main never occurred to me until I saw it happen. If you have Blink in your opponent's main, even if he does have a Dark Templar, you can just keep blinking and sniping probes, and the DT does damage so slowly. Brilliant Blink timing by TesteR right there. Very well played series.
Yeah, and that's just a demonstration of, if you have your mechanics at that level, those are the little subtle things you can do to overcome, quote unquote build order imbalance. I mean, he was clearly beaten in the build order there. Dark Templar, if you can't see him, you can't kill him. But that, as you said, that force field and just being aggressive with it forced White Raw to use his first DT defensively. And also the timing on the second one was a little late as White Raw was forced to run around, and then he finally got the focus to put that second DT out. Had that been a little faster, maybe if he wasn't flustered, he would have been able to take down the pylon, stop the observer, and the game would have gone differently. But very, very, very nice play by TesteR there. I'm going to be excited to see him in the finals.